Well, Saskatchewan is amazing for investment purposes. I'm not from Saskatchewan, but I actually moved here after high school. I grew up in Canmore, Alberta.
Okay.
So then my mom actually is a real estate investor, and her family's from Saskatchewan. So after, I think it was about 2008, she sold her house in Canmore, moved to Saskatchewan, and then eventually I followed along because it was very expensive where I grew up.
Sure.
So, and real estate is very cheap here, but there's still tons of industry, tons of people living here. So it's kind of like the middle of Canada for those of you who really don't know. The prairies, the flatland, lots of farms, very cold in the winter.
How is it right now? I mean, obviously here it's summer now. How is the summers in Saskatchewan?
It's actually amazing in the summer. I look forward to it. But
sure you do. Get some sun. Home of the Rough Riders.
Yes, of course. Very passionate about that.
So, Britt, I have to ask, how did, you mentioned your mother was a real estate investor. And so did you just watch her do her thing? How did this all start for you?
Yeah, well, it did start pretty early on for me because when I was growing up, she had renovations on the go and she's a badass. She's just she'll do anything, whatever it takes.
Shout out to mom.
Oh yeah. Huge shout out to my mom. I love my mom. She's great. She really she saw what other people were doing in town and she was a bookkeeper.
Okay.
But she saw that everyone owned real estate in this town in Canmore, Alberta. I don't know if I specifically Canmore, but in the Rocky Mountains. So she saw, and back in the 90s, real estate was extremely cheap compared to what it is now, of course. So she bought a lot and just decided she was going to build a house. And so when I was growing up, but she didn't have any money, she was just trying to do this. At that time, she's a single mom. So it was we were growing up, me and my brother, doing renovation work. She'd get us to help her with painting, drywalling, just whatever. So it was fun. I loved it. As a child, it was a pretty cool way to grow up. And it taught me a lot. And I really think it gave me a lot of confidence, too, to buy my first investment property.
How old were you when you bought your first one, if you don't mind me asking?
18.
Wow.
Yeah. So
for a lot of our listeners and our viewers, they can't even fathom, even at a much older age, getting their first investment property. Walk me through, were you shaking, literal? I always tell the story when I bought my first home, not even as an investor, just as a first-time buyer.
Yeah.
I was actually still in the business. I just started in the business, and I was shaking when I was signing on the dotted line. Take me back to that time.
Well, this is kind of a long background.
I want to hear
about how it came to be, but it's my Salmonella Strategy.
Okay.
No, so what happened, I was a little kid. I think I was about 6 years old when this happened. It was an office Christmas party, and the restaurant cooked all the turkeys for this Christmas party halfway through, left them overnight, and then cooked them the rest of the way the next day. So obviously I was just a little kid. So everyone who ate the food got extremely sick, got salmonella poisoning. But the other side of that was the insurance money that came through. So I got this insurance payout when I was a kid, but I couldn't access it till I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's
this is awesome.
Right.
Not that you got salmonella, obviously.
No, of course. I'm happy about it now. But yeah, that allowed me to have some money in the bank. So when I was 18, and I just always had it in my head all through high school, I was I want to buy this investment property. So to me, I felt comfortable with it. And just seeing my mom. And so the other thing about Saskatchewan is the properties are so cheap. So I bought in a small town. It's just this tiny little house, but it was $25,000. So it was a very cheap house. And I got lucky with tenants too, because the tenant that was in there, he stayed for 6 years. His rent was $850. So it was good rent rolls coming in too.
Interesting. I mean, in a lot of places, specifically here in Toronto, you have much obviously higher prices. I mean, our parking spots are not even $25,000. They're around $65,000-$75,000 now.
Crazy.
But in terms of the fact that the rents were still very high, you're getting $800, you said, on a $25,000 home. It makes it quite easy, like just even basic math, right?
Yes,
like
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. So what was it, like a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom?
It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I think it's around 900 square feet.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, I love that place. Rents are up 900.
I love it. And so, we'll jump kind of back and forth, Britt. Do you totally just believe in the buy and hold strategy? Do you mix it up in terms of your portfolio?
Yeah, so far it's just been buy and hold. It's funny because I'm like, I want to do
music.
Yeah, I love buy and hold. That's my thing. And then we do the refinance. So, I mean, people call it different things, but the BRRRR strategy or flip to yourself or Keyspire. And yeah, so that's kind of my favorite. And then it's funny because I'm like, we should do a flip. Like I always think that. I'm like, yeah, we should flip this. Like we'll make some cash and we'll have some in the bank. Then the bank will see we have money for the next place. But then when you kind of factor all the costs in of selling, it makes more sense to refinance, keep it, rent it, and then move that refinance money on to the next one.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the REC Experience. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and share.